broadcast is now starting. All
All
attendees
right.
are in listen-only mode.
A very good evening and a very happy Sunday to all of you. My name is Shikhar Bansode. I'm the chapter coordinator for National NHRD Network Pune chapter. I am very happy to welcome you all back to another NHRD webinar on a very interesting topic, that is soft skills, hard impact. Why should all of us really care about soft skills? My dear friends, this is going to be a 1 hour session, and like every time, you can put your questions or ask your doubts anytime during the webinar using the question panel on the right hand side of your GoToWebinar player. I now hand over to the chapter Vice President for Pune chapter, Mr. Aman Rajaballi, to welcome our guests and take the session forward.
Thank you, शीतल. नमस्कार everybody. आदाब, सत श्री अकाल, वणक्कम. इसके अलावा और नहीं आता है, इतना ही आता है. Okay. Such a pleasure to see people have been joining in. We have more than 150 people already on a very pleasant Sunday evening. Thank you so much, and I'm sure that this is going to be 100% worth your while. Sunday की शाम बहुत ही हसीन होने वाली है. हसीन इसलिए क्योंकि मौसम बहुत बढ़िया है और तगड़ा नॉलेज शेयरिंग होने वाला है, नॉलेज इंफॉर्मेशन. We have some amazing people with us. हर्षद जी हैं, शैलेश जी हैं, उनके बारे में मैं बाद में बताऊंगा. But fasten your seat belts and let's go for a ride. A little brief about National HRD Network for all those people who are not aware, who joined us from across India. We are an association of HR professionals, started off more than 3 decades ago, and now we have more than 30 chapters across India and thousands of registered members. Apart from that, there are almost all HR professionals are aware of the kind of work that we do and have been supporting us and have been benefiting, including the education sector. Sheetal and I belong to the Pune chapter. Along with me, we have Anand Khoth, who's the president. We have Dr. Neeraj Mankar, who is the treasurer. We have Shailesh Malhotra, who looks after the media and the creative aspects of it. And then we have a wide range of all senior level professionals from the industry who come in as part of our subcommittee. तो करीबन 20-22 लोगों की टीम है. So we are very fortunate to have them on board, and come out of some good work that we've been doing. We will continue to share as and when we have the time. Now, to get into this, let me take the opportunity to briefly share with you हमारे जो स्पीकर्स हैं उनके बारे में थोड़ा सा मैं आपको जानकारी दे दूं. बाकी तो उनका काम ही आपको बताएगा. In the next 1 hour, you will see the depth, the quality that they bring on board, and I am so thankful that we were able to organize this session. And more thanks goes to Prashant Dobriyal, who's part of Words Maya. ये उनके सौजन्य से he was the single person who was in touch with me, and over the last I think 2 महीना 2.5-3 महीना I don't know हो गया, and finally we were able to get this rolling. Harshad Bhagwat, the gentleman, he is the CEO and founder of Words Maya. Harshad founded this Words Maya. He is an educational technology startup which empowers college students and professionals in India with English communication skills so that they become employable. Simple, and this is what is required. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Harshad. Words Maya has been incubated at IIM Calcutta Innovation Park, and it has been selected by Center for Innovation and Incubation in Savitribai Phule Pune University in the first ever batch. He is leading a passionate team with diverse backgrounds with a mission on empowering 1 lakh students by 2021. All the best to you, Harshad, and the team. Words Maya is proudly associated with many state universities, educational institutes, companies, and NGOs in Maharashtra to help students improve communication skills and become employable. Words Maya has won several awards and accolades, including Smart 50 startups to transform India, floated by IIM Calcutta from 15,000 startup applications. Wow. and received a grant, Department of Science and Technology. Harshad has received several awards like Young Inspirator Award at Youth Summit 2019, organized by Sakal YIN in June 2019. He is a regular speaker at several professional events and conferences. Harshad was an active member of the Indus Entrepreneur, that is famously called as TIE, which is the world's largest organization of entrepreneurs. He is a fellow of Startup Leadership Program, a joint program which runs in 23 cities in 12 countries. Before jumping into entrepreneurship in 2014, Harshad worked as a scientist for 7 years in Tata Research Development and Design Center, Pune. He worked extensively on energy reduction of industrial processes. He successfully helped a multidisciplinary team progress through the full innovation cycle, ideation, development, IP creation, commercialization, etc. He has filed several Indian and US patent applications and has number of international research publications to his credit. He has a BTech degree in mechanical engineering from College of Engineering, Pune. Wow. To rejuvenate himself, he engages in gardening and reading on spirituality. Wow, Harshad, I've been interacting with you for quite some time now, and honestly, I had no idea about your background, and I'm so happy that I got the opportunity to read this out. So मुझे भी पता चल गया. Yeah. The next gentleman we have the speaker, Mr. शैलेश देशपांडे. शैलेश जी, आपका स्वागत है हमारे NHRD के प्लेटफॉर्म पे. He is the Chief Human Resource CHRO at Godrej Properties Limited. Shailesh is an HR professional with deep interest in the field of psychology, especially leadership assessment and development. He has come back to HR generalist role from February 2020 after around 5 years. During his last role in talent and leadership development, he worked on building deep conceptual understanding of academic literature related to psychology and leadership, and also worked on honing his capabilities as a coach and a facilitator. He worked across sectors, geographies, and functional domains in HR. This includes HRBP, consulting work with organizations such as Marico, Asian Paints. Asian Paints is in use now these days. Accenture and Godrej in domains such as factory HR, global HR, M&A HR, L&D, and international compensation in geographies ranging from Asia, Africa, Europe, and Latin America. Wow. Thank you so much, Shailesh, for coming in, and I'm sure with your diverse and this kind of a deep experience, you are going to enthrall all of us and share your knowledge with us. On this note, I will shut off my screen and I will go on mute. मगर मैं आप सभी लोगों के साथ रहूंगा. I now hand over to Harshad and Shailesh. We have now more than 200 people already. Thank you so much and enjoy the session.
Very warm and very generous welcome. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Aman. Welcome, everyone. The lockdown has certainly changed our habits, isn't it? Instead of venturing out to a mall or a movie, we are all here on this Sunday evening for this conversation. It has already been an eventful day already, because already International Yoga Day, Music Day, Father's Day, we had a solar eclipse in the morning, and now we have this conversation, a webinar with Shailesh. The topic today we have chosen is very dear to me because I work in the same field. But mind you, it's an old topic, but it has gathered huge attention in recent times. And I'll tell you why. See the slides, please. Yes, the LinkedIn 2020 Workplace Learning Report, which came out in March, it has a separate section for soft skills with clear title, In the Age of Robots, Soft Skills Will Reign Supreme. And they asked around for all companies all around the world for top priority skills which they will improve for their employees that all three were in fact soft skills. In fact, all first five are all soft skills. Next slide. Also, the section puts more remarks like soft skills, interpersonal skills that are foundational to every employee's success, regardless of their role or even as technology evolves. And it's a smart investment for the professional as well as the company, given that the shelf life of technical skills now is very short, just 5 years, but these soft skills are always in demand. So, Sheetal, thank you for the slides. So now on this topic, we are going to have very open conversation with Shailesh. I'm truly honored to have Shailesh here because he has worked with many corporations across geographies, across sectors. Plus, he has deep interest in understanding human psychology, which is the very important thing for the topic today. Shailesh, I welcome to this webinar. Would you like to just greet the audience and say a few things before I start my
Sure.
questions?
So, no, I would like to thank you and the NHRD network for inviting me. I know Sunday evening troubling people is not a very good idea, but I hope we make it worthwhile. So welcome to all of you, and I hope we have a meaningful conversation. I look forward to engaging with you even through your chat comments and even subsequently. So very happy to be here.
Yes, Shailesh. So I'll start with my questions. But the audience, feel free to put your questions in the Q&A box, in chat box. I may take a few questions in between if they are adding to the discussion. Otherwise, I'll make sure we have ample time in the end for open Q&A. In between, I'll also throw in a couple of poll questions to get you back in the discussion. And honestly, Shailesh and me, we need your energy throughout this session. Plus, there is a very
In fact, Harshad,
nice.
sorry I'm interrupting you. I wanted to tell the audience is that I also may ask some questions to them, which
Yeah,
they should
sure,
respond to in chat or Q&A
sure,
because I want to
sure.
know where their minds are, and then we'll build on that. So
That will be
sorry
great,
for
Shailesh.
interrupting. Please go ahead.
Yeah, that will be great, Shailesh. And the last announcement is there is a nice surprise only for this webinar attendees, a very special offer from NHRD and WordsMaya. More about it towards the end of the webinar. Okay, Shailesh. So here we are with my first question. I'm feeling like a KBC right now. I'm asking you all these questions. But a few weeks back, when we were planning this session, you suggested that we should call this a soft skills hard impact, this session with the title. But there always been a debate, right? Hard skills are given more priority in schools, colleges, STEM learning are assessed in
Sure,
the interviews first. But then why do you think this is important, and why should we all care about soft skills?
sure, sure. No, so thanks for that question. And you will remember that when we were planning this session, I took some time to even finalize the name of the session, right?
Yes.
And there is a very specific reason why I was thinking about it, because to be very honest, and it's a strange way to start the session, but I actually don't like the word hard skills and soft skills, because I've always had a big amount of discomfort with these terms, and I believe that the words that we use have a lot of significance, so we should choose them
Yes.
thoughtfully because they influence our thinking as well as actions. Uh, so I think I want to spend some time before I come to what is the importance on actually just understanding what do we mean by hard skills and soft skills, because unfortunately it is true for many HR things. Words get used very carelessly to stand for anything and nothing, and then we don't know what we're talking about. So we'll spend some time defining what we're talking about, right? Uh, I think let's start by actually thinking about why do we think about capabilities, right? Why should we all care about building and enhancing our skills and capabilities? And here, this is where I'm going to actually throw a question to the audience: that what's the objective of us building capabilities in the first place? And I'm not saying hard, soft. I'm saying all kinds of capabilities. Why do we as individuals should care about building capabilities, and why should organizations build about building capabilities? So can I see some answers on the I'll see them where in the chat box, or where do I see
Yes.
them?
Please, audience, please message us on chat box.
So why should we care? What is the purpose of all this? Why build capabilities? Just because NHRDN says and Harshad says is that's why we should build capabilities? Or is there any genuine reason to build capabilities? to improve ourselves. Okay. People are typing in the question section. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You can type your comments in the chat section, right? That will be better, Harshad.
Yes. So
Or you
audience,
can
if
see
you have
that.
specific question, put it into question section. If you're answering or remark about
To be more
any answer,
effective and
please
more,
put in the chat session.
yeah.
I
So to be
don't
more
think
effective and efficient.
they may have access to chat box. This chat that you are seeing is only for us internally. For the
Okay.
external
So they
audience,
should.
they have.
Fair enough. So we should see the responses in the question and
Okay.
answer section only.
Yes, please.
Okay. So why should we care? We're talking about being efficient, being effective, okay? But being efficient, being effective in order to do what? Just because others say that it's a good thing to do? Why do we care about building capabilities? I'm seeing lots of comments, but they're not on the question. So I'm not sure how this works. Okay. Growth, sustainability. Okay. Interesting answers. For getting promotion. That's a very good answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Increase effectiveness of business outcomes. These are good answers. Effective and efficient, relevant with times. Okay. Yeah. So I think some really good answers, and those answers point us in the right direction. So I think, like many of you have said, ultimately we all care about developing capabilities because we want to produce results, right? And we just don't want to produce results for one day, right? We want to produce results that are sustainable and they keep improving year after year. And if you take a little broader view at an organizational level, I know many of you are, HR professionals, and or even if you're a business professional, or if you're running even your own business, ultimately, one thing you care about is delivering results, and second thing you care about is building a inspiring, thriving organization. Because an organization that grows over long term is an asset that you have that allows you to respond to even future developments, right? So we can all agree that ultimately all that we do in a business or even in any organization case is to deliver results and to build a better organization, right? Now, if that's our objective, think about it. If that's your objective, you could be in any industry. You could be in software, you could be in manufacturing, you could be a beginner, or you could be in medical, hospital, you could be in a school, or across these spectrum, the things that we are talking about matter, right? Now, if this is your objective to produce long-term results and build a great organization, I'm going to actually submit to you that you cannot do either of these two without integrating soft and hard side. So let's spend a minute on thinking about what I'm saying. There is not a single result that you will produce, or there is not a single good long-term organization you will build without having both sides of the equation with you, soft and hard, right? And what soft and hard means we'll come to in a minute. But the first point I wanted to make was that it is never about one side. It is always about both sides of the equation. So I think that's
Yes.
hard and soft work in tandem. Hard and soft work as an integral combined unit. So I think it's important for us to understand that, right? Having said that, right, the second point I want to say is, often, it's very exciting and kind of sensationalization, to say, oh, this is more important than other, right? And say, oh, no. So people said at some time, IQ doesn't matter, only EQ matters, right? Or people say, oh, hard skills don't matter, only soft skills matter. I think these are just hand-waving statements. These are very, very, exciting, attraction-inducing, demanding statements. They're not very meaningful statements because life is not about either or. It is never about one thing better than the other. It's always about both things. And I would actually start this conversation by saying that there is no debate that hard skills are important. And let me now get into the definition also. I think broadly I'll refer to hard skills as functional and technical skills, right? So if you're a teacher, you need to know your subject, right? If you teach mathematics, you need to know mathematics. That becomes the hard skill, right? But the soft skill is about how do you work with yourself and work with other people? How do you communicate, right? And that broadly I'm going to call as leadership capability. right? So we are making two distinctions. We are saying hard skills are about functional or technical capabilities, and soft skills can be broadly bucketed as leadership capabilities. And I'm mindful that even these two words don't do full justice, but we need to have some frame for our conversation. So I'm going to talk about soft skills as leadership skills in a broad way, and leadership of self and leadership of others also. So I'll talk about both those aspects in a minute, right? So the point I'm making is and now let's look at leadership skills and functional skills or technical skills. The point I was making was it's a no-brainer to say that technical and functional skills matter, right? If I'm a doctor and I'm treating you, and if I don't know how to do the surgery that I need to do, or I don't know what medicine to prescribe, I'm useless to you, right?
Yes.
So hard
Yes.
skills are extremely important.
Yes.
I want to start by saying that, framing it as soft are more important, we are actually doing disservice to the conversation. So hard skills are absolutely important. But the interesting thing is hard skills and or technical capabilities, like I said, functional capabilities, are only a necessary condition, never a sufficient condition.
Okay.
If we go back to what we said as our objective, which is to create great results over a sustained time and to build a great organization, to do that, having functional skills is table stakes. It's necessary. But without leadership skills, without soft skills, you can't, your hard skills are useless, almost.
Okay.
Useless is a very extreme word. I'll say they can have a huge limitation.
Sure.
So the leadership capabilities act as a multiplier on top of your functional capabilities. The extent to which you can scale your functional capabilities, the extent to which you can create impact, is actually driven by your leadership capabilities. And hence, I want to begin by saying, and I'll kind of quickly summarize. So I'm saying 2-3 things, right? One, let's understand what do we say by hard and soft. We are saying hard is broadly about functional, technical, soft is about leadership. Leadership of self, leadership of others. That's point number one. Point number two, in all important areas of work and life, these two work in tandem. They work in an integrated manner. So we should never make the discussion about one other than better, only one can do, the other can't do, one is more important. That's not right, right? And the third thing is functional technical capabilities are necessary but not sufficient condition to create great impact and great careers. So these are 3 points, and this is why when Arshad we were discussing, I took a lot of time to say what do we call it.
Yes.
But I said let's stay with hard and soft because that people understand what we are talking about. But this is the reason, it's my sincere belief that leadership skills or soft skills are extremely important. And that's why I said, let's talk about the hard impact of soft skills.
Sure.
So that's kind of my context setting, opening of the subject.
Absolutely. And Shailesh, we have a lot of questions coming up, but my next question, I will just continue what you were saying is, what are those soft skills or leadership skills? Could you maybe explain maybe few of them or the top ones?
Very, very valid question. And that's the right place to start, because for all of us together to have a meaningful conversation, we should define what we're talking about and have a shared frame. Otherwise, we can be talking about all kinds of things and without defining and mutually agreeing what we're discussing, right? So if I pick up the thread from where I left earlier, that if we all agree that we are referring to soft skills as leadership skills, right? I will explain to the audience a very simple construct that many organizations use, and at Godrej also we use it. We believe that the leadership capabilities can be bucketed in 3 broad blocks. So we talk of capabilities of leading self, that's the first block. Capabilities of leading others, that's the second block. And capabilities of leading business, that's the third block, right?
Okay.
Now, again, I can get into a lot of nuances, but for purpose of today's discussion, I think it's reasonably accurate to assume that when we talk of soft skills or leadership capabilities, we are referring to leading self and leading others, those two building blocks of the capabilities. So I think every time you think of soft skills or leadership capabilities, and leading business also has some those kinds of capabilities, but for ease of discussion, I'm keeping them out. These two, and if you Google soft skills, you'll get like a laundry list. I've seen lists that go from 5 items to 500 items.
Yes.
And from communication to creativity, adaptability, leadership. Unfortunately, and I'm with fellow HR colleagues, so I can say this, we ourselves actually do a lot of disservice to our profession by using words so thoughtlessly that all our line leaders start thinking कि ये लोग तो कुछ भी बोलते हैं. Some words they use without even defining what they mean, and that's a big problem. So we should be very precise in what we are defining. So I think for purpose of our discussion, I'm going to say that the soft skills broadly are represented in these two buckets. The first being leading self, and second being leading others. And I'll talk a little more. Sorry, I keep referring to my phone because that's where my notes are. I'll talk a little bit about both the sides of the equation, right?
Okay.
I'll talk about leading self first. Now, leading self, and again, it's an obvious thing to say, but how well do you know yourself? How well do you manage your own energy? How well do you learn and improve? These are absolutely foundational capabilities, right? How well do you plan? How well do you organize your thoughts, right? These are how well do you manage your own energy?
Yes.
How well do you manage your own emotions? Are you aware of your emotions, right? All these capabilities, which are about how do you take charge, how do you understand, manage, and lead yourself, are the leading self capabilities. In fact, it is my sincere submission that the leading self capabilities are actually extremely important for all human beings. And I'm saying it again, it doesn't matter which profession, which age, which workplace, which stage of life you're in. Leading self is the foundation.
Yes.
How well do you understand yourself, manage yourself, and grow yourself? You may not ever work a single day in any company. You could be a Buddhist monk.
Yes.
Even then, leading self matters. So it is so soft skills or leadership capabilities are that they're about life. They're not about one profession or one job, right? So that's the bucket of leading self, right? The second bucket is of leading others. And somebody once asked me, that when do leading others capabilities become important? I said in any situation when there are more than one people involved, leading others capabilities become important, right? And that's where the importance of soft skill comes in. Actually, I can't think of a single profession in this world other than, like I said, Buddhist monks, but even they have to teach somebody and learn from somebody else. So there are other people involved. But I can't think of a single profession in this world where you can work entirely all by yourself throughout the year.
Yeah.
None. You'll either have even if you're a one-person company, you have your customers, right? And I can't think of a business or an organization without customers or some stakeholders that you're serving, right? So the moment there are other people in the picture of any kind, leading others' capabilities also become extremely important, right? Now, if you come to more conventional organizations, it's easier to think of leading others' capabilities in two kind of lenses. One is how do you interact with your own environment, right? Environment may not be your own team. It could be your boss, it could be your colleagues in other functions, it could be your customers, it could be your external stakeholders, right? So you and your environment, that's the way I like to think about it. And second is you and your team. If you're a manager or if you're a supervisor, and if you manage other people, then how do you align your team? How do you coach your team? How do you grow your team? How do you give performance feedback? Extremely important capabilities, right? So that's the broad domain of leading self and leading others that I think represents almost the 80-90% core construct of the of the leadership or soft skills definition.
Yes, absolutely.
Does
And
that answer your question?
yes, so you have given the broad categories, right? But audience has already started putting, is this in which category and all that. So probably we can ask the audience that according to them, which are those top 3 soft skills according to them, which are most important there in their own job or life. They've already started typing. So yes, audience. So what Shailesh has given us a broad categories of soft skills. Which of them, or you can maybe be very specific. So someone has already said design thinking, open-mindedness, empathy.
Sure. Right.
Yes, delegation,
Sure, yeah.
communication.
Sure.
Yes, Abhishek. Yes, Sachin Singh has put empathy. Divyani has put teamwork. Sudesh as well. Vaishali, emotional intelligence, yes. Amol Mane, presentation
yeah,
skills, yes. Leena, EQ. Sandeep Kulkarni, leadership for others, problem solving, presentation.
sure,
Yeah, trust as well, yes.
sure.
Yes, even time management, as simple as Abhishek has put.
Yes,
Yeah, listening, very important in today's world. Critical thinking, yes.
sure,
Suhasini. Great. So, I think we have a huge list, change management, decision making.
sure,
So,
sure.
as you said, it's a big list out there. So, I think good that you have just given us a category, because otherwise this entire
Sure.
discussion would have been on all those things. So, I'll move to the next question. Now, we are talking about a
Also,
very
sorry, before you move there, I need some
yes,
small help.
yes,
I'm not able to see the questions properly. I have a very narrow scrolling window.
yes. So,
Is there, I tried all kinds of
yes.
things.
So,
How
next
do
to
I
the
maximize? Ah,
cross,
now I maximize. I
yeah,
got it. I
yeah,
got it. I got
yeah,
it. I think I could maximize it. Thanks. Much
yes,
better. I can now see the,
yes.
much better. Thanks.
Yes. So, Shailesh, my next question is, like, we are talking about a very changing VUCA world. We are talking about Industry 4.0, companies undergoing digital transformation, now COVID. So, this changing dynamic environment, how
Sure.
soft skills are even more important, or how they have changed, importance has changed, which soft skills are more
Sure.
important, and even on remote
Sure.
work now, which is going to stay for quite some
Sure.
time now. What are your thoughts on that?
Sure. So I think, let me start by saying that, world has always been a changing construct. The whole defining feature of the universe is that it's always changing and always evolving. Of course, the rate of change has grown substantially. And, last 10 years, we have seen thousands of papers and articles and presentations with all kind of fancy words, VUCA and all kinds of things. And that's all true. And I think right now with COVID, we are probably in the middle of a I think the word unprecedented also has lost its meaning because it's been overused like anything. But indeed, we are in a situation that we have never seen in our life, right? So whether like you said, artificial intelligence, machine learning, the change is tremendous, right? And I must start by saying that, of course, each of these changes, technological changes, social changes, political changes, demand that we adapt and we change. So I completely take that point on board, right? uh, and I will never kind of underestimate the importance of that. So that's fair. But I actually have a little different view on this, right? I actually belong to the school that believes that more the things change, the more they remain same.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
I actually believe that the fundamentals and the foundational aspects of who we are as human beings actually don't change.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
And if as individual human beings and as professionals, we really have to develop a capacity to adapt and respond to things that are not in our control, it's my very honest and humble submission that the only way you can do that is by going back to fundamentals. And fundamentals are leadership capabilities,
Hmm.
right? So if I'm not clear about myself, I'll just give you one example. And this
Hmm.
example, I think, will hopefully prove my point in a very good way. Think about it. 20 years ago, if a person said, that I'm in some, or 25 years ago, I'm in some small village somewhere, I don't have access to a school or a university or a teacher. I
Hmm.
want to learn this subject, but, poor me, I can't, I have no access. So, and you would have said, yeah, all our sympathies are with you. We wish you were in a bigger city and you had access to university and so on and so forth, right? Now, today we live in a world where this single thing that we all have in our hands, right? And this crazy thing called as internet, actually take any subject in this world, right? You have very, very high quality resources. Uh, Sometimes we're at top universities, full courses, right? Actually available to you often for free,
Yes.
right? Now think about this. But at the same time, has the world's ability to learn and develop changed, uniformly across? No. A lot of people are totally confused.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think the amount of, if you search something on Google and it throws 5,000 actually, or 5 million search results at you, you're dead. So my point is, if you have not developed abilities and skills to, let's say, study a subject,
Mm-hmm.
to screen references, what's valuable, what's not,
Mm-hmm.
the technology is going to just drive you more mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So the fundamentals of managing self, managing others, right, are actually even more important now.
Mm-hmm.
So my belief actually is that the changing world, COVID-like situation makes leadership capabilities and soft skills 10 times more important than they were earlier.
Okay.
And if we as individuals and we as companies want to respond to this well, then it's not that we need to learn something new, but we actually need to go back to basics and strengthen our basics. And if our basics are not in place, the changes will actually totally confuse us and kill us. So in a very ironical way, that's why I started by saying the more the things change, the more they remain the same. So the more things change, the more they become chaotic, the more crisis we see, importance of foundational capabilities actually becomes more and more important.
Yeah.
That's my answer to your question. Yeah,
Yes.
somebody has written about SQ, which is spiritual capability. Absolutely,
Yeah.
spiritual quotient. I
Yes.
couldn't agree more.
Yes.
I'm not sure who has said that, but
Yes.
yeah,
Shailesh,
absolutely.
actually, audience is putting so many things that thank you very much. And actually, they are stealing my questions anyway. So actually, it's so that is great thing.
Sure.
So actually, the next question was indeed asked by, I think, uh, Sandeep, Shubhangi as well, Vilas as well, that do soft skills
Right.
change with industry roles? Even someone has asked a 60-year-old, uh, does he need soft skills, or at entry level they are different? How does it change with industries, with roles, with geographies?
Good question, right? And I'll again little bit go back to and pick up the thread from where I kind of left earlier. Let's use the leading self and leading others lenses, right, for the soft skill or leadership capability discussion. I think so if I take the industry question or the level question, in my mind, actually, industry, there is some amount of variation, but I think, for all practical purposes, I would actually start by saying that importance of soft skills doesn't vary, greatly across industry. They're equally important everywhere. The more there is human, interface. So I'll just take an example.
Mm-hmm.
If you're working in a consulting organization, right,
Mm-hmm.
where literally from the front line to the top line, top person, every day you're facing clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus, let's say, a factory, right? I'm just contrasting. The importance of soft skills in the consulting firm will be multiply even higher, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want that to say that it is less important in a factory, right? And many of us have worked in the factories, and we know that factories or any business or any team is a human system. There is no factory in this world that has produced world-class results only through technical capabilities. There is not a single factory. You study case studies of any great factory, any great R&D team, any great, offshore center team, whatever you take. Like I said, you will see the same thing. The technical skills are great, but that in itself doesn't guarantee great outcomes. These places have good degree of technical skills, but phenomenal degree of leadership skills.
Okay.
Right? So the industry variation is minor, if at all.
Oh.
Right? So I would say that greatly important all industries. They are even more important in some industries. Right? So I will never say that less important in any industry. That's my answer to the industry question. Right?
Mm-hmm.
To the hierarchy question, is important of soft skill different across the hierarchy in the organization? How important it is in the beginning and how important it is as you become more senior? I think I'll say this. Many of you would have probably seen that there's a very nice graph which is very simple to visualize. It just imagine a rectangle with a diagonal drawn right, across kind of bottom left corner to the top right corner. And that rectangle simply represents and as you move up the hierarchy, it represents the mix of leadership skills and functional skills, right? So in the beginning, you can say that functional skills are far more important. As you start going forward, the importance of leadership skills goes even higher. So that's a very crude generalization. Having said that, I do not want to say that soft skills are of less importance in the beginning. And I'll now bring in the nuance of leading self and leading others. Leading self capabilities are important throughout your life, no matter which stage of your career you're in. In fact, if your intellectual capacity, your emotional capacity, your education is, let's say, the capital that you have, the factor that will decide to what degree that capital actually is deployed and leveraged and exponentially enhanced is leading self. All the factors of leading self, right? How well do you manage your energy? Are you self-aware? Do you learn? I'll just take an example of learning, and I think we see this very often. What is the biggest thing that comes in people's way of learning? Arshad, any guesses? And that's a critical leading self skill. It's a critical soft skill.
Okay.
What comes in people's way of learning? Do you want to take a try?
I think motivation.
Why don't people learn?
I mean, motivation,
No,
nothing.
No. Motivation, they will all say, no, I want to learn a lot.
Okay.
Most people say that.
Okay.
The biggest thing that we lack is awareness of what we don't have.
Okay.
Or the emotional capacity to admit कि हाँ मुझे नहीं पता है. I'll give an example, and I'm an HR professional like many of you, so I'm sure we often conduct an interview. Often I meet a person who says, I've worked in this function or this location for 2 years. And the person says, I know everything that is there to know about this function. That for me is a big red flag.
Yeah.
Because the moment you start thinking that I know it all, you're gone. In fact, the great masters of any field, I remember somebody was interviewing Pandit Bhimsen Joshi at the age of 75.
Oh.
And he said, मुझे राग भैरव अभी थोड़ा समझ में आने लगा है. Now, that's the attitude of a great master, right? Now, the leading self capability that Pandit Bhimsen Joshi is displaying is humility. And being a lifelong learner. And I guarantee you, talk to any great professional in any field who have accomplished a lot. They are, greedy learners. And they look at themselves very, very critically. They are their own harshest critique. In fact, others may say, oh, you have done so well. They say, no, I know I have not even done 70% of what I could have done. So leading self capabilities are equally important at all levels, right? The leading others capabilities actually become exponentially more and more important as you grow in seniority, right?
Yes.
Because the number of people that you manage, the number of diverse stakeholders that you manage just keeps increasing. And no matter how much of an expert you are of your own field, if you can't manage the environment, can't convince other people of your ideas. And one of the other capability that I want to specially highlight here is communication skill.
Okay.
In fact, I don't remember the verbatim. I think Warren Buffett had said it. He has said this in a written article about this somewhere. Maybe Arshad, you know the reference exactly. But I think he said that at any point of your time, at any point of your life and your career, if you want to make one investment in yourself, that will give you ROI of, thousands of percentage points, is improve your communication skill. And as a HR professional, I've now worked in the industry for 21 years. I've seen so many functional, brilliant people who cannot communicate. The ability to come to a meeting and in 5 minutes present very crisply and logically your point. It may sound a simple skill.
Yes.
Majority of people don't have. And the more you present to senior audiences, see, one thing I often tell my colleagues that if you present to the CEO, he has 50 meetings in a day.
Yeah.
So he has 5 minutes for you. Now you may have the best idea in the world. Can you in 5 minutes crisply convince him that this is a great idea? If you start going here and there, and again, one thing I'll say, which may again sound very small, but it's critical. If English is the language of business in India now, which it is, right? We can't get into debate of it should be Hindi or Marathi. That both has said, right? It is English. If we accept that, then I think as something as basic as how well do we write, how well do we speak in English? I'm telling you, even today, sometimes I'm shocked at the quality of writing I see in the emails written by some people who have like 15, 20 years of experience. I'm appalled.
Hmm.
So, hugely important capabilities in all industries.
Yeah.
And just to summarize my point, at all levels, leading others become communication, influencing, persuasion, collaboration, become even more important as you go more senior.
Yeah, yeah. And
I hope that
audience
answers
has,
your
yeah, our
question.
audience has already put the remarks as well, that how presentation is important, how to keep learning is the secret of mastery. Yes. The next question
Absolutely.
from audience, that how do you measure soft
Yes.
skills? And the difficulty in measuring, is that why during appraisals or interviews hard skills are weighed more? Is that the reason? And can we measure soft skills objectively? And actually there are 5 6 questions around measuring soft skills in appraisals, in interviews,
That's a
and in
great
general.
question.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a great question. And I think I want to compliment people who have asked that
yeah,
question.
yes.
We can do a separate half-day session on measuring soft skills or soft
Ah,
capabilities. Uh, they're indeed hard to measure.
mm,
And I think that's why each organization owes it to its people to come out with a meaningfully, made definition of these capabilities. In fact, at Godrej, for example, we have defined it not just as capabilities. We have tried to even define how the capabilities change across each level. So we have said influencing at level 1, this is what we expect. But as you go to level 2, it is a different expectation,
mm,
right? So I'll take influencing as an example off the top of my head. And this I'm quoting the Godrej framework here.
mm, mm,
So level 1 is our entry level job, right? So we are seeing on influencing capability at level 1, you should at least be able to persuade and sell your ideas to network that you work day to day.
yeah,
So you serve a customer, can you convince him? You interact with one function, cross-functional colleague, can you convince him of your ideas? That's the basic expectation, right? As you go to level 2, which is the next managerial level, my
mm,
expectation is, can you now cross-functionally influence? Can you cross-level influence? Can you present to leaders of a senior level and convince them of a new idea that you're bringing in? If you're a general manager, which is next level, I will actually ask you, can you lead a large change program,
mm, mm,
which includes multiple functions, multiple locations, thinking of 2 years, designing a communication plan, understanding what concerns may people? You get the point? So I think the short answer is each organization needs to define what leadership capabilities matters to
mm.
itself and define it in a way that is communicated to all its employees. And often in HR, we've all seen there are big competency dictionaries written which nobody ever reads and nobody ever talks about, then they're useless.
Mm, mm,
So your framework needs to be meaningful, simple, so that it can be part of your everyday conversations.
mm, mm.
A manager after a meeting should be able to give feedback to his or her team member that in today's meeting on capability of collaboration and influence, this is what you didn't do well,
Okay.
right? And I would like you to do this differently. That's very valuable feedback. So I think my short answer to assessment and measurement is that A, you need to have a good definition,
Ah,
right? Which is clear, concise, simple. And B, you need to have people around who have a shared understanding of what that capability looks like at a level. What does a good capability of influencing at level 2 look like?
sure.
If your leaders at level 3 understand that, then they can give that feedback, right? And kind of communicate that to your team members.
Yes, yes, yes. And now what's after assessment is, how do you develop that, right? As you said, the feedback is given or some measurement is done. So this development question, how do you develop soft skills, has come
Sure,
from Sunil,
sure,
Leena, Manmohan,
sure,
many people actually. How do you develop?
sure.
How do we do that?
So
What kind of
very,
efforts?
very good, very good question.
And
Uh,
Shailesh, here, like
I'll answer that question.
maybe Shailesh, I'll just combine two things. One is from
Sure.
individual's point,
Yes.
from organization's point, how should they invest in soft skills development? And now related question actually, because how is also the tools. So is there any future for classroom sessions? Can we do it online? And those are also questions from Subhash
Sure,
actually.
sure,
So,
sure. A lot of facets to this. I
Yes.
think it's a very rich conversation. 1 hour is not enough, but I'll kind of talk about the headlines. Uh, like you said, I think I'll talk about it in two levels. One is as individuals what we can do, and as organizations what we can do, right? Uh, and I think because a lot of audiences HR, I'll talk about this a little differently. I think first of all, I believe firmly that each one of us individually are CEOs of our careers and capability building, right? Often organizations don't spell this out, right?
Okay.
When you don't spell it out, the feeling that employees start having is that, all capabilities and skills I need to develop, you need to send me for a training program. And that's a non-starter because I cannot possibly train you on everything, right? And that's, as a business, I'm not in the job of running a training school.
Okay.
Of course, I'll help you build capabilities, but I'll start by saying it's your responsibility, right?
Yeah.
That's the first point. Even as individuals, right? And forget what organization wants to, doesn't want to. If we care about our own career, we need to take charge of our capabilities. So my first point to individuals will be, do you genuinely know what your biggest strengths and biggest areas of improvement are? And please note, I'm talking about strengths also, because I believe, and there's a lot of literature, a lot of science on this, that development is equally about building your strengths and not just about improving your weaknesses. We often make a mistake of taking our strengths for granted and only running behind our weaknesses. That's not development. In fact, again, at Godrej, we believe we use what we call as 50% rule. We say 50% of your energy investment in development should be reserved for strengths.
Okay.
At least 50%. Balance 50, you choose whether you want to invest in strengths or weaknesses, right? So my first answer is, you need to clearly know what are your strengths and what are your areas of improvement with reference to where do you want to go. Because general list of strengths and improvements is infinite. For example, all of us have a major weakness that none of us know Mandarin. That's not a relevant weakness. It's irrelevant because none of us are going to China tomorrow, as far as I know. Right? So you need to know strengths and weaknesses relevant to your destination. Right? That's the first point. Now, once you know that, I think, the simple submission is, don't take more than 2 or 3 things to work in a year. Take 2 or 3 big, so if I take, let's say, communication skills, my advice will be, don't take communication skills as a broad bucket because that doesn't mean anything. You break it down. You say, first 6 months I'll focus on written communication, next 6 months I'll focus on presentation. Right? I'm giving you. So make it specific, right? Third thing we all need to do, and I'm sure my HR colleagues have heard of this in some shape and form, is we need to think of how do we learn and build capabilities from lens of 3 C's. So I call them content, context, and community. Right? Content is access to courses, access to books, access to internet resources, right? Which is knowledge, high quality knowledge that I can read, observe, right? That's static content in a way, right? Context is applying it in workplace. Because we are all professionals, we just don't want to read a book and keep it, right? If you learned a new way of presenting something, tomorrow you need to go and try it out in your work. So that's the context, right? This is nothing but the famous 70-20-10, which I'm sure my HR colleagues know. And third is community. The biggest thing we learn from is people around us. Not just bosses, teachers, and coaches, but also our colleagues and peers. So I think we need to use all the 3 in building these capabilities. I know this is a very high level answer, but there is so much that we can talk about. I'm just giving some pointers that we can all think of.
Yes, Shailesh, and one facet of this question is, can we really learn these skills online? I mean, can they be self-paced learning possible?
Yeah.
For I mean, there are courses available, but how to do that and how to get maximum out of it?
So I must, great question. So I must start by actually saying that, I have some exposure to the online space in this field. Based on that, if I were to say, I think in my mind, what is emerging is that the blended models are very, very valuable. Is my sense, right? Because as technology is getting better and better, so I still can't visualize, a leadership program or a communication program or an emotional, intelligence program completely run by, AI engine.
Mhm.
Maybe 5 years down the line it may happen, or even before it may happen, but right now I can't imagine. But can I see a blended approach, right? So for example, in communication, I've seen that there are now good engines that can give you first level feedback on, let's say, you're writing or speaking, right?
Mhm.
Now that can be used at a high volume, and then you bring in a in-person teacher or a trainer who then uses that insights, generated by the machine to add a layer of human judgment.
Sure.
So I think, in my mind, my broad answer is that technology can have a great role as a accelerator, as a big block of a broader blended construct. That's kind of my high level thought.
Yes. Yes, Shailesh, thanks. Actually, like as you said, there are many facets and many questions are coming up
Yes.
actually, about very specific
Sure.
as well. But to sum it up, Dr. Suhasini Jadhav is saying kindly organize this session again in detail. Okay, so I think that sums it up, I guess. Like we are just 3 minutes away from 6:30, for which we promised.
Yeah,
Of
I know,
course,
I
we can
realize.
continue and take more sessions, more questions.
Sure.
What I request the audience is that the last few questions which are absolutely not covered in this 1 hour, please put
Yeah,
like
that'll
a
be
very
nice.
very different question
Sure.
hasn't come in our
And we
discussion
can
at
go
all.
back to 5
Yes,
minutes more if needed,
yes, please
because
put,
I realize it's a vast
yes,
subject.
yes, please put them in the chat. Until we do that, Shailesh, I just have to cover one thing, as I promised the audience right at
Yeah,
the start, that we have a very special offer for webinar attendees. So let me just say that in 1 minute, and then we can take a couple of questions to end this all. Sheetal?
sure.
Yes. Thanks, Sheetal. So a gift from NHRD and WordsMaya only for this webinar attendees. Next. Yeah, so we talked about assessments. Can we assess employees on English language and non-verbal communication? So what we are giving away to HR people as well as individual participants is a cloud-based assessment for measuring English and non-verbal communication, so that we can judge teams or individuals on this very specific skill. If you want to reach out to us, you can contact this email ID prashant@wordsmaya.com, or in the worst case, you can reach out to NHRD as well. And one more, next slide, please. We also talked about if we can improve these skills online. So we are giving away very very short course for very specific tips on business communication skills, a very easy course of 30 bite-sized lessons which you can improve. You can use 10 minutes a day on iOS as well as Android smartphone you have. And again, HR leaders can use this course for improving skills of remote teams, maybe underutilized teams right now during this situation, and they can as well get progress reports. Again, the same, contact us at prashant@wordsmaya.com. Thank you. Yes, Sheetal, you can remove the. Yeah, I'll just check. I think some of the questions are very specific. I think the 3 questions are entry level engineer, which skills are important, a line manager, which skills are important, marketing, which skills are important. So I think these are very specific questions, Shailesh. Probably audience
I
wants a
think I'll
bit
take the
specific answers, I guess, one specific skill
sure.
probably.
Yeah, so I think I'll take entry level, first. And this may sound like I'm stating the obvious, but I think I'll still talk about it. I think at entry level, basic leading self skills or capabilities like discipline, diligence, right?
Sure.
Attention to detail, having a learner's mindset, having a willingness to dirty your hands. We see a lot of entry level people who say that, I want to do strategic work only. I don't want to do any operational work. That's not going to happen. So I think in the beginning, really keeping an orientation that I want to learn my own function, my industry. I want to dirty my own hands. I want to go to the shop floor. I want to go to the front line. I want to understand all the nuts and bolts is extremely important. So that's one leading self capability I'll talk about. The one leading others capability I'll talk about is communication. I think if you want to get something sorted right at the beginning, I would say really, really invest on your communication skills. whether it's spoken English, written English, your presentation skills, how do you manage meetings, can you speak in public, can you present to an audience of 100 people, how do you take question answers, all of this. I think the earlier you work on this, and if you have any, a lot of us have fear of public speaking, just find a place, Toastmasters, there are so many different things you can do. So that would be my short answer to the entry level question.
Yeah, I see 5 people from audience are from academic backgrounds. So they are talking about students here. Okay, so they're saying that why soft skills are normally not part of academic curriculum. Sandeep is asking, and another lady is asking that we put soft skills in the curriculum. So, but could you sort of do more justice to them?
I think I don't have an answer why they're not there in the curriculum, but I definitely believe that they should be. And I think it's a case of taking things for granted. We sometimes think ये तो हमें पता ही चल जाएगा, ये तो हमें आ ही जाएगा, right?
Okay.
And that may be a dangerous assumption. So I think it may be useful. And again, I'll give you an example of it's a small example, but an important example. If you look at more how do I say that, more insightful education methodologies, I talk about something like Montessori, right? Unfortunately, we all think Montessori is about small kids, right? It's not. Montessori is a philosophy of education, right? If you look at any such methodology of education, which is a little more deeper and reflective, it actually has tremendously large focus on these capabilities. In fact, the academician colleagues here on the call will know this, that there are phrases like executive function, metacognitive skills are actually used in schools and colleges to build these capabilities in students right in the beginning. So it's not just teaching history and geography, but it's about teaching how to learn any subject. So it's a meta capability, right? And I think all progressive schools, all more contemporary, or I don't want to use the word contemporary because in India there have been some great educators who have done this 50 years ago also. So all the schools that don't use rote syllabus, rote curriculum, ye padho 4 chapter, uspe exam aayega, that pattern will never do this. All educational institutions that go beyond this have always focused on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. So, Shailesh, I guess this is amazing. And just to sum it up again, Ratnadeep Sahai is saying, please do 3-4 sessions more on this. I think Aman, you should note this. Even Suhasini is saying, please organize this session again in detail, because there's so much to talk about from Shailesh as well. So I will end this, my thing here. Shailesh, thanks a lot. And over to you, Aman.
Thank you so much, guys. And as Harshad mentioned, that yes, if the audience is asking for a repeat and a deeper conversation, then yes, it means that we've done our job properly.
Yeah,
we've done whatever we could, and this is the cherry on the cake. This is the satisfaction that we get. Harshad, Shailesh, Sheetal, Prashant, रात को सुकून भरी नींद आती है, हाँ अच्छा काम किया है ना?
Sure.
Of course.
So
that's the most important thing.
Sorry?
I said that's the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. यार वही तो जरूरी है, और क्या चाहिए यार? And in this lockdown has showed us so many things that material things don't matter. What is there here, in the heart and here, बस और क्या चाहिए? Good. Ji, thank you so much on behalf of National HRD Network. I thank you, both of you, Words Maya also, and Prashant once again, for having curated this, having set this up for us. और audience का response तो बहुत बढ़िया रहा. It's been a joy ride. So मैंने जो start में बोला था कि let's have fun. We did have fun. So thank you, Harshad and Shailesh, for this. National HRD Network, for all those people who are still with us, I would like to share a noble cause that we have been partnering with, iGift Life. And may I invite our colleague Arnaz to please come on screen. Arnaz. Arnaz, calling Arnaz. Arnaz, welcome. Arnaz, take
Thank
over
you so
please. आप
much,
जरा
sir.
बताइए आगे लाइफ क्या करती है organ donation के बारे में.
Yes, sir. So iGift Life is associated with NHRD Pune chapter. Our main motive is to spread awareness about organ donation because 8 in 1 crore Indians donate organs and we are a population of 130 crores. So you see over here, there is a disparity, right? The number of people in the waiting list waiting for organs to be transplanted, to be donated to them, runs into lakhs and upper lakhs. Whereas the number of people who are donating are in a few hundreds or probably thousands. So in order to meet the demand and supply and maintain the equilibrium, we here at iGift Life have been spreading awareness since 2016. Now we will be seeing a small video of how it looks and how it feels to spread awareness and donate your organs. Sheetal, can we please have the video? Right. So we would love to collaborate with you and do webinars for you so that together we can spread awareness about organ donation. Having no information about organ donation is absolutely fine. Having some information is good, but having half information about organ donation, that is where the line needs to be drawn. We need to spread correct information and absolute awareness about organ donation. Therefore, we look forward to hearing from you. You can always WhatsApp us hi on the mentioned number, and you can always check out our Facebook and Instagram page, iGift Life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arnaz. Shailesh, isn't this mind-boggling? I mean, we can save 8 lives, and imagine the kind of awareness that we have in India, Harshad. Yeah, eight in
So very
1 crore.
fast.
Yeah. So, and iGift Life was started by father and daughter duo, Tejpal Singh Batra and Naina Batra. Amazing human beings and great professionals also. And Tejpal is part of the Pune chapter. Arnaz is a student and has volunteered to take this forward and has been helping us in all the webinars and other sessions that we do. So thank you very much, Arnaz.
Thanks, Arnaz, for doing this very important work.
And maybe, I don't know, if we could do that with Godrej, later on we could connect offline and organize an awareness session. Only awareness, that is what we are looking at. We're not interested in, yes, of course, as a byproduct, something comes up, then certainly, but awareness is what we're looking at. This is a request to all the participants that we have on board right now. Please get in touch with us and allow us an opportunity to speak to your employees, to your family, to your friends about this movement that we have started off. Okay, thank you so much, and we have a couple of sessions already lined up. We will let you know at NHRD Pune chapter. We will email you if you are not receiving any email or you want us to include you in our mailing list or in our WhatsApp. Please get in touch with us. You have our details. If you don't, you may please Google us. Okay. Tomorrow we have a very interesting session by Amit Nagpal and Rajeshri Chaudhary. It's going to be a conversation on HR. Okay. At a very different level in terms of leadership. आप प्लीज अटेंड कीजिएगा. अगर आपको इंटीमेशन नहीं मिला है तो हम आपको जरूर बता देंगे. We have 3 sessions lined up on CSR. Yeah. On the 7th of July, on the 9th, and in the 11th. That is also going to be very interesting. on one session is purely focusing on epilepsy. और ये भी ना शैलेश जब हम बात कर रहे थे, it was again as simple as organ donation. People are not aware of, and
It's a huge issue.
corporate
A
level,
large
people
issue.
get rejected just because you happen to be having some epileptic issue, and इतनी सारी गलत फहमियां होती है,
Sure.
चप्पल सुंघाना, कांदा सुंघाना, such nonsense happens, सच्ची. So we at NHRD we've decided to spread awareness on this.
Oh, it's very nice that you're picking up these issues. It's really good.
And couple of workshops that we are coming up with on analytics है, on psychology related है, on women. One workshop is specially focusing on women leadership. तो वो भी आएगा. तो ऐसा सब कर रहे हैं. So we seek your support, we seek your help, nominations,
Of course.
whatever. Okay. Yeah. And we will stay in touch. Thank you so much, Shailesh, Harshad, Arnaz.
Thank you.
Again, and
Thank
to
you,
all the
sir.
participants. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Namaskar.
everyone.
And have a
Bye now.
Thank you.
Thank
splendid
you.
evening.
Have a good
Bye.
evening.
Bye.
Good.
Indeed.